So, let the rumpus begin. The first story is From Newcastle with Love, and it's by Nastasya Parker. Nastasya Parker lives in Dursley and writes all over the place. She's had 2 stories published in Bristol Short Story Prize anthologies and has read before at Stroud Short Stories in November 2016. Last year, she won the Gloucestershire Writers Network Prose Prize, reading at Cheltenham Literature Festival. Mostly, though, she works on novels because she can't bear to part with her characters too quickly. So please welcome to the stage to read From Newcastle with Love, Nastasya Parker.
In my country, when a man and woman are together, you know, on their wedding night, the girls of the town stand outside the window and call like unhappy birds, wailing because they believe a woman loses her soul to her husband. My fiancé pales over his steak and clutches the tablecloth. But that is an old belief, only in small villages. I pat his hairy knuckles. At least his nose hair is under control. My sister and I studied his photo before I chose him. Long nose hair would have been a total deal-breaker. He smiles with only his lips. He doesn't seem to like showing his teeth. At boys' school, they must have taken the mick out of him before the pricey orthodontics worked. I smile and show off the gap where my ex-stepdad knocked a tooth out. Funny what scars different people. He's too nervous to smile with his eyes. I should be nervous, because this isn't a done deal. But since he picked me up at the airport, I see I've got the upper hand for the first time in my life. He thought I'd look at his weak chin and slouched shoulders and get back on the plane. But I'm not that shallow. I'm looking past those toward his wallet. Not that I'm making it obvious, I've ordered the cheapest item on the menu, a posh salad. It's got vegetables in I've never even heard of. Like the neighbours make on their farm at home, I sigh, wiping my mouth with a silky napkin. He twitches, his wineglass tipping. I may be laying on the homesickness a bit thick. Never make a man feel too guilty. They can't take it. They'll turn it back on you. I can't wait to see where you are from, I rush on, tossing my hair. It feels crackly from the short flight, but he's already stammered that I'm more beautiful in person than in selfies. In the charming village of Milton Keynes? Well, as I've said, I live in Kensington now. He grows out of his slouch for a moment. Ah, I forget. Silly me, thinking of past homes. No more will I do this. It's fine. It's his turn to give my fingers a reassuring brush. Then he waves to the waiter. Thank God he didn't snap his fingers. That would almost have been a deal-breaker. Almost. But I sensed he'd be polite from his emails. You must be exhausted, he says. Concern looks good on him. Compliments his soft jawline. Especially after that stop in Newcastle. It's so out of the way, so north. Their accents sound like they live underground or something, probably sheltering from the rain. I grip my glass to stop my own twitch. This is the craziest thing you've ever done, my sister said when I joined the dating site. Well worse than selling lemonade made from stolen fairy liquid. That was my first money-making scheme, nearly getting me an ASBO at the age of 6. I'd been fed up of summer holidays with no free school meals, with Mum out doing God knows what, and the stifling flat's windows rushed shut. I meant to buy a house, already thinking big. That was far from the last idea I had, but it was the last I acted on until now. Crazy or not, my sister threw me a party in the flat we stayed in after cancer finished Mum off. The girls from my nursing home job came. They'd made a wedding veil out of old postage stamps. For the mail-order bride, my sister smirked. I stroked the tiny copies of the Queen's face overlapping at the fringes. You must have spent a fortune. I posted a few things when I was getting my papers. Cost me about as much as flying. My friends shrugged. Old Mrs. Henry's family didn't want her stamp collection when she passed. I haven't brought the veil with me. Too risky. In my pocket, I carry a pale green stamp off the corner. Apart from my clothes, it's all I've got for my real home. I bought shampoo from the Polish corner store, so the packaging's in a weird alphabet. I emptied my wallet, destroyed my national insurance card, gave my sister my last quid. I even got a few Ukrainian bob, whatever you call them, from a girl at work. So my handbag is deflated as I stand on this Kensington street letting a rich geezer sort things with a taxi driver, but the lightness makes me feel almost high. I'm about to enter my new house. There are trees here, right by the road, and no gum on the pavement. The townhouses gleam white, all joined up, but I reckon they built the walls thick so you don't have to hear the neighbours. And even if I do, they won't be shouting at each other. No one needs to shout at each other when they've got money. My groom gives me a tour, pride lifting his shoulders. I narrow my eyes so I don't betray excitement, because letting a man get overconfident is as dangerous as making him feel guilty. Luckily, his shyness returns in the bedroom. You can choose the side you want. He pauses. It will be better tomorrow night, after we're married. That evening he sends me to bed ahead of him. Go on and rest. I'll just catch up on some work since I didn't go to the office today. Maybe he can't get it up. Impotence wouldn't exactly be a deal breaker, I think, as I reach behind the bedroom curtains to open the window a bit. The air is fresh, and the traffic far enough away to sound like gentle ocean waves. Alone, I slide between the sheets. They're posh as the napkin I had at the restaurant. You know what they say, my sister warned me when my Ukrainian papers arrived from the forger. People who marry for money end up earning every penny. Better than working my ass off for a tosspot who's dirt poor. I examined my new birth certificate and passport, my photo floating in a sea of foreign words. Tonight, my husband-to-be comes upstairs and I let him pretend I'm asleep. Silent, he crosses the room an inch at a time and eases himself onto the other side of the king-size bed. Finally, I drift off to sleep, warmed by the sensitive crackle of his nerves and lulled by the distant traffic. I dream of a wooden cottage with carvings round the door, like I saw on a website about traditional Ukraine while I did research. Inside, he and I approach each other, stiff and scared, until we're inches apart, suddenly melting together. I melt. But there's a scuffle against the door and a screech. It's the girls, I think, my sister and my friends crying for my soul because I really am losing it, like in that tradition I made up off the top of my head at dinner. My husband jumps away from me. Bloody hell! I open my eyes. In our bedroom, he's scrambling up from the bed. His curse was real. The other noises were real too, along with little mortified coos. I turn in their direction to see a frantic bulge behind the curtain. My fiancé's pale face shines in the dark. It's a sodding bird. It squawks annoyance at his statement of the obvious and bats its wings against the curtain. I've had experience getting pests out of the house. I cut the curtain around the hidden body, real gentle, but it thrashes wildly. If this is like a soul, they're not easy to keep hold of. Once I shove the window open further, though, the bird stills before bursting into the night. Anything could happen to it out there, but it flies. The same is true in here. Anything could happen. You're really going through with this. My sister kept shaking her head as she waited with me for the airport bus. I thought you'd give up, like you did all the other insane ideas. No chance. It can't be worth it. I mean, it's just money. We've got by without it. I patted my pockets down, checking again I had everything. Purged wallet on one side, locked phone on the other. My hands slowed and clutched. It wasn't just the thought of filling the empty purse. It was the phone, already weighted with his emails and WhatsApp messages, his hopeful compliments, and promises almost as outrageous as my own schemes. It wasn't that I couldn't back out. I didn't actually want to. I close the window. My partner and I look at each other with nervous, embarrassed smiles. It's gone where it belongs, I say, almost forgetting to use the accent. Reaching for his hairy knuckles, I lead him back to bed.